fresh off our weekend at Cadwell Park, and we're here at Snetterton for the next round of the 750 Motor Club, and with it, the next round of our Paddock show. We, as per usual, have a huge bunch of different cars and drivers to interview. So let's get started. We're in the 116 at Paddock, and I'm joined by Sam Holman. Sam, how are you doing?
I'm good, Yusuf. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad. Do you want to talk us through this car? Because I hear the whole livery and everything is a bit of a tribute to the Aston Martin.
Yeah, I've always been a fan of the Aston Martin racing cars, and racing against Darren Turner in the last race was a real privilege. Actually, it was really cool. Just loved it, looking for a different colour, and out of all the cars in the grid, it was in a green one, so it's quite easy to spot from the pits, which is useful.
It helps for the commentators as well. So I have heard this story about Darren showing up at Alton Park. I also hear that you overtook him.
I did, yeah. I haven't mentioned it to anyone though, so it's all right.
Well, it's out in public now.
It is, yes. Everyone's sort of seen it, so thanks, Ash. Sorry, I don't just do it with my hands. Sorry. Yeah.
I just wave.
That's all right. That's it. One of them. That's it. Thanks, Ash.
So I was also going to ask, what got you into motorsport? Where did you start from?
I've always been around it. I live 15 minutes from Silverstone, so it's always been around. Always loved cars, racing, and then a career change a few years ago sort of led me to working for a brand called Praga, which is a racing car manufacturer. And through that, contacts, friends, everything just made it possible to finally do this and get into it.
And when did you start with the BMWs?
Last season, so 2023 was my first. Did the full trophy, 116 trophy, and the 116 sprint, and then we did the Birkett Relay as well, which we're hoping to do again this year.
And how is it driving this car? Because obviously it's just a standard road car, just with everything taken out.
It just feels like you're on a road, an unrestricted road with your friends, trying to... Well, not bad. Sounds bad. Don't put that in. Yeah. And I think so far we've not had any actual contact with anyone. Well, I have not anyway. I know some of my teammates have, as you may see from the side of the car. But yeah, very, very minimal, which is good.
I think they're trying to give a bit more character to the car.
Something like that, yeah, that's it. Battle scars.
Well, Sam, thank you very much for your time and best of luck today.
Thank you. Cheers.
Thanks for that, Sam. Definitely don't bash your car up. However, one driver has been bashing stuff up. Well, he's been bashing out some race wins. I'm joined by Mac Priestwood, who was a winner from Anglesey at the last event. Mac, how are you doing?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad. We were just having a chat before we went live about qualifying and really close to getting that front row start.
Yeah, very close. It would have been a second, but with the lap, changing every time we went around because the track were drying in places. We got a really good run coming out of one of the corners. Sadly, we used a curve. We got a really good run. The delta were coming down, and the back end slipped out a bit, and it caught one of the sensors. So we have had that lap took off us, but it would have been a second. We're now starting P14, so it's going to be a good race to try and come through the pack.
A lot of work to do in the race. You clearly have a lot of pace in the car. How tricky is it with the changing conditions, drying one lap, getting wet another lap?
It's like, I think the easiest way of describing it is it's a bit of a gamble. So you can push a bit more on the lap after, try a bit more of a dry line, but for gaining a couple of attempts, you could do seconds.
So I don't know if you've already started planning this, but with yourself starting outside of the top 10, that first lap, is it going to be a gamble lap, or is it just going to be keep your nose clean?
50-50. I think it's going to be stick your nose in, but be sensible if the door could get closed and we don't want any damage.
Has it really got wet enough to be taking the wet racing line, or are you still always on that dry line?
It was definitely a wet line for a while. Definitely in the last sector, still very wet. Bomb hole was very dicey. But the rest of the track was drying out very well. So it's wet in places. I think with the track being so big, it's wet in places, dry in others. So.
And I also just want to talk about kind of your experience with the car. How long have you been racing? How long have you been racing the BMW?
So we started last year. I got my first win on the third round here, actually. So that's good. We've had success here before. So I've been doing it a year. This is my second year racing the BMW. We've came from dirt, so where rain is like, we're pretty used to the rain, so it's good. The car's good. All the cars are very similar, and it's all down to setup basically and the drivers, so it's very good.
In the last Paddock show, we spoke to a driver who had come from drifting, so now we're speaking to a driver who's coming from dirt racing. Kind of compare the two. What skills can you transfer from one to the other?
I'd say there's a lot transferable. Obviously, the driving style's totally different. It's all about getting a good exit in this, whereas on dirt you want to go in deep, square the corner off and get out, or ride the berm. There's obviously no berms around here, so there's definitely certain things you can transfer over, but it is well and truly a different driving style.
Well, so far you've got that win at Anglesey this year. Have you had any other wins this season?
Oh, we've actually had 3 in a row for the trophy, so the 90-minute race. So we've got another 30-second success penalty coming into this one. But for sprints, we seem to top 3 so far all season, so that's good.
Well, you're doing really well. Best of luck today, and we're definitely going to be watching what you can do from 14.
Thank you very much.
From one German manufacturer to another, BMWs to Porsches. We're into the Porsche paddock, and I am speaking with Daniel Crao. Daniel, how are you doing?
Very well, thank you. Looking forward to the weekend ahead. Yeah, and having some fun.
I was going to say looking forward. It's a little bit gloomy, spitting a bit. Does that add to the nerves?
Not for me today. My dad is racing in today's race, so really all the pressure's on him. I've just got to do a couple of laps in qualifying and I'm all right. But could do with it being a bit sunnier like it was yesterday, 34 degrees. It was lovely.
So not a big fan then of wet weather racing?
I think it definitely mixes it up, makes it a bit more interesting, but definitely more jeopardy.
That sounds like a very political answer to it. I absolutely hate the wet.
No, I wouldn't say I hate it, just prefer it when it's dry.
Fair enough. So talk to us about this car. You are in the 35 car, you and your dad for that matter.
Yes. So normally I would race it, but this weekend my dad's decided to have a go as well. He used to do a lot of racing back in the 90s, so he's got plenty of experience at it. This car is built and prepared by Charles Ivy, which is our company. We're a Porsche specialist based in South London, and we actually prepare 5 cars that are here this weekend. So we've got a 944 Turbo, another 968, R968, Cayman, and a 986 Boxster S as well. So yeah, it's been a bit difficult getting all the cars ready for the weekend, but managed to get there in the end.
Does it add to the challenge that you've got so many different models and that they're not all exactly the same?
Yeah, I mean, when you're sort of looking after cars that are sort of, they obviously vary quite a bit in age as well. You've got to carry lots of different spares for different cars, different models. But, you know, we like to race. We've got cars that are entered in 3 different classes for the Carmel Porsche Trophy, and it's nice to take the win in all of them, hopefully.
And you mentioned those different classes. How close is the racing within the classes itself and then between the 3 different classes?
The racing in the Carm is great all round. There's lots of class battles sort of for the win, but also there's lots of racing between classes as well. So there's lots of cars vying for position on the circuit. I think this weekend we've got a grid of 36, which is going to be great. Lots of racing sort of from the front right to the back, and it gives everyone a crack at it, which is good fun.
I'm going to ask you one more question because the rain is really starting to come down and I don't want you to get soaked. How long have you been racing cars? What was your entry into it?
So I was quite fortunate. I got into racing. We prepared race cars for a long time at Charles Ivy, but I got into racing 5 years ago, and this was my first car, so I've been quite lucky with it. It's been a great car to learn in, and gone from the back to the front. I think it's coming down quite heavily, so probably better call it there.
Well, thank you very much for that.
Thank you. All right, take it easy.
The Armed Forces Race Challenge provides a fantastic opportunity and initiative for any active service members. I also hear that the Navy, Army and the RAF have some friendly banter between them, so I thought, let's stir the pot a bit. We've made our way into the Armed Forces paddock, and there was only one way we could really hold this interview, which was to get one member of the RAF, one member from the Navy, and one member from the Army as well. Chaps, how are we all doing?
Yeah, not too bad, feeling really good, yeah.
Good today, yeah. Qualifying was, thought it was going to rain, could have been a bit more slippy, but actually turned out all right in the end. I was, well, really happy with my position.
Yeah, good day so far. Car's working well, so yeah, I'm happy.
Now, the first kind of test that we did was me to say, you've got 2 minutes to come here. Who'd be here first? You were the slowest, so what's this telling us about today's event?
Oh, I'm just making sure everyone thinks I'm the slowest, and then on track I just come out of nowhere and blow everyone away. That's my plan. That's my plan of action.
Typical Army, sneaking up from the rear.
Got to do it.
Now, I should also introduce you guys as well, but I think it'd probably be easier if you introduce yourselves.
Yeah, so my name's Kieran Lambourne. I'm a Royal Engineer. I'm a plant operator, and obviously I'm in the Army. I'm 24 and I'm from Caen.
So Gareth Moss, also nicknamed Sterling around the paddock because of the surname. So car 26, white Mazda MX-5, Marine Engineer with the Royal Navy. 40 years old, 22 years done, so I'm well on my way to retirement soon. Raced with the Armed Forces Race Challenge for probably 6 years now. Mostly raced in Class D, but this is my first year with a supercharged MX-5, so I've moved up to Class C.
Matt Beach, I'm an RAF armourer, so I've been in just over 20 years, racing number 43 silver BMW that I've just finished this year, so it's a new build, but first race with AFRC in 2019 in one of the 116 cars, so sort of came up as a novice and did a season with that, and took a bit of time away, came back, so yeah, this is it in my own car now.
So what I want to move on to is, do we know who's kind of winning in the championship between your three disciplines?
What overall?
Yeah.
Wise, I think it's the RAF. If I remember.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
they got more
yeah.
cars, so it just automatically like.
I think
up.
it is the RAF, but to be honest, I'm just looking at my own class and I'm just concerned with myself at the minute and how I'm performing. So that's for the quick boys at the front to worry about.
In terms of your own classes, your own championships, how are all three of you currently doing?
Yeah, so doing not too bad. I did all right. So last year I was in the White Royal Engineers 116. This year I'm in my own BMW 330. Everyone's going away now in Class C. And at the beginning of the year, because I was learning the car, I started about middle of the pack, and now I'm gaining more confidence in the car. I'm now sitting at the top third. I'm currently sitting third in Class C, so I'm feeling confident.
So yes, like I mentioned, first year racing in Class C with a supercharged MX-5. Missed the first race of the season, unfortunately, due to deployment. Second race of the season, had some teething issues with a newly built car. Third race of the season, it actually finished the race. So I'm not doing great in the championship points at the moment. However, I am more on for trying to get myself working towards a podium. So I currently qualified 5th on grid at the moment. Couple of seconds to make up. If I can find a couple of seconds, should put me in a comfortable third.
So start of the season wasn't great for me. 2 DNFs in the first round at Brands, but it was a new car, new build, so I had some teething issues, and it was best to save the car and fight another day. Didn't have it ready for Alton Park, unfortunately, but then came back at Anglesey a month ago and it ran really well, so I had a really solid weekend, and really this weekend just looking to build on that because the car's had a lot more work, set up, suspension and all the rest of it, so it actually feels a whole lot better than it did even at Anglesey. So qualified 6th in class, I'm pretty happy with that. I'm hoping to go forward, so we'll see.
Final question then for all three of you, and then I'll let you go. Dry or wet?
Well, it was forecast to be sunny, and then suddenly the rain come out of nowhere. So I hope it gets dry. Well, with everyone going out now for their qualifying, I hope it dries out the track a bit more. I didn't bring my wets because I thought it was going to be dry, so it better stay dry.
Good. Oh, it's rear-wheel drive car is always best in the dry. Wet is interesting, but I just can't get the power down.
Yeah, I'd probably prefer dry. I don't mind either way. I'd like to just push the car there and see where I can get it to, so dry.
Good answers. Dry's definitely better.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, chaps. One set of drivers that was not too pleased about the random showers throughout the day at Snetterton were the open-top Mazda 7 cars. We got the chance, though, to speak to David Bowen while his wife and kids recorded our cameraman Daniel recording Dave. We've made our way into the Mazda paddock, and I am joined by David Bowen. David, how are you doing?
Not too bad, thank you. Yep, all good.
So that is your number 25 car in the background. How's it running this season?
Yeah, not too bad, not too bad. We've had a few rounds that have been probably the results haven't shown the pace we've had, but and a little bit of bad luck. But then that's racing. So only my second full year at it. So yeah, I'll take it.
And what has brought you into racing? You mentioned it's your second year, so you started last year, I'm presuming.
Yes, 23 was our first full season. So my background is with the company is just prep. So we've been on the spanners and building cars for people for quite a few years. So I thought it was time I sat in the hot seat and had a go myself. So
how are you finding your transition into racing then?
It's difficult. It's a learning curve as always, but yeah, we're doing okay. We're sort of hovering around the top 10, so yeah, I'll take that. And the only problem is I can't blame whoever put the car together because that's me as well. So
well, you can have like two personas almost.
Yeah, that's it. Alter ego. Yeah, that's the one. But no, it's okay. It's good. It's a great paddock as well. So yeah, it's always friendly. So that's good.
And how competitive is the racing? Because it is a single make championship, which I'm guessing tends to make that racing a little bit closer?
It does, especially this year as well, where we've had a few of the sort of cross-flow locals guys come up, and that sort of made the front group even bigger. And yeah, some of those guys are amazingly fast, and I can't get to their level, but it's really good, really close racing, like you say, because the cars are all so similar. So it's good. It's good fun.
And you've also got the family here, and they're quite eagerly watching this interview and recording it as well.
Yeah, most likely. Yeah, that's it. No, I'm lucky. My wife Sam, she's as much of a petrol head as me, so I get a free pass to come and play with these toys. So that's a good thing.
Definitely helps, doesn't it?
Without a doubt. Yeah, I'm lucky there. That's for sure.
David, thank you so much for your time and best of luck today.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks a lot. Cheers.
The 750 Motor Club are proud to be hosting another esports event on Tuesday, the 13th of August. It's an event open to drivers, fans, or even your nans. And who better to talk to about it than the current reigning 750 Motor Club sim racing champion, Trafford King. Trafford, how are you doing?
Yeah, really well after yesterday. First win, so really good, really good. Really enjoyed it.
Is that first win of the season or just first win of the weekend?
I had one at Brands, but it got taken away for a yellow flag infringement, but we don't like to talk about that one. So yeah, first one at season. Well, first one in Type Parts really.
Well, massive congratulations on it. One of the main reasons we are here is to talk a little bit about sim racing. You are the reigning sim racing champion. We've got a sim racing event coming up. Will you be there to defend your title?
Yeah, I've signed up for it finally, so we'll have a go. See how we get on.
And talk to us a little bit about your sim racing route to racing. Where did you start in sim racing? How long did it take before you got into cars?
It was more just as a kid on PlayStation, Xbox, working up to sort of getting a little bit more serious last year, and then the Winter Sim Championship was my first proper sort of competition in it. But yeah, I mean, it's just helped with cars, track days, working up to racing, just getting lines, breaking points, stuff like that, and then just sort of taking my brain out when you get to fast corners when you're actually doing it in real life.
How similar is being on the sim compared to being in the car? How different is preparing for an event on the sim to an actual event here at 750 MC?
You can do a load on sim. You can get sort of there or thereabouts, and then it just gives you scope to be able to start setting a car up when you do get when you get on a test day. You sort of know where you're going. You're not trying to learn it before you then get here, rather than it just gives you a little bit of a head start really.
And correct me if I'm wrong, this is your first season or second season in the car?
It's second season in car. Yeah, I won the Novice Championship last year, which was good to sort of get out of the way, and then just pushing on this year. I've had a bit of bad luck. We had a shunt at Brands and then a gearbox failure at Anglesey, but we're trying, we're getting there.
My final question for you is, any new driver coming into racing, and for yourself 2 years ago, if you can remember back then, what's that kind of first moment where, you know, how surreal it is of being in a race car for the first time really kicks in? Was there anything that stood out to you as, oh, I never expected this to be something that happens on a race weekend?
It was more the nerves when you're sat in collecting area, even on first test day, and you're sat in it, you're like, what's going on here? And then lighting up to grid for the first time, and then sort of midway through season, it's just the norm. You're just out there, same as everyone else. Everyone else is doing the same thing, so there's nothing to worry about.
Well, Trafford, thank you very much for your time and best of luck in picking up the double.
Wonderful, thanks very much.
As the home of affordable motorsport, the 750 Motor Club doesn't look to just ensure that entry costs are kept down to a minimum. They keep down the racing costs as well, and this is done through a variety of methods, such as limiting the amount of tyres that can be used in a season and limiting the number of specialist parts that can be added to a car. However, the 750 Motor Club about a decade ago pioneered the change to power-to-weight racing, and with that they worked with Maha and brought in a rolling road to help them do this. So speaking of that, we're going to be chatting to Louis from Maha to talk to us a little bit about the rolling road and how you came to work with the 750 Motor Club.
So Maha make a vast range of high quality workshop equipment, and I got involved with 750 Motor Club back in 2011. So our equipment is truck, car, MOT bays, vehicle lifts, brake testers, and the jewel in the crown for me is the dyno. Once 750 realised that we make chassis dynamometers, they started asking a few questions about how we could help them regulate the power and enforce the regulations. So we put together a network of Maha dynamometers around the UK that they could put in the regulations for the competitors to go and get the cars tested before they raced, and to ensure that they're consistent through the season. And then this custom-made dyno was made for them probably 2012, I think we started that. And we follow it around the country, testing cars for eligibility and compliance with the regulations through the year.
And talk to us a little bit about how this rolling road does work.
Okay, so we put the car into the rollers and we strap it in securely, and then we'll conduct a power test which will measure speed of the rollers, measures force with a strain gauge in the attached to the retarder. So force multiplied by speed gives you power, and then we know the car's RPM to roller speed, and that measures then the coast down. So we have power at the wheels, we have an accurate coast down measurement which will give us an accurate flywheel figure that is pretty much comparable with the rolling roads that are in the ground. There's just a few minor differences that we account for in the regulations as well.
Well, thank you very much for that, Louis. We're going to let you get back to it because you've got a couple of customers waiting to jump on.
Indeed. Yeah, thanks very much.
We've spoken to racing drivers, we've spoken to racing drivers who do sim racing, but how about racing drivers who do remote control car racing? I find myself with Greg Hill, the driver of the number 75 at Clio. Greg, how are you doing?
Yeah, good, thank you. Yeah.
Now, obviously you are racing in this Renault Clio, but you also do a fair bit of racing in remote control cars as well.
Yeah, that's my main business. I race radio control cars. I've been doing it since I was a kid. Turned it into a business, yeah, we take that like super seriously. Like at our company, we're like multiple world champions, 30 times British national champions. There's a British national championship taking place this weekend, so if any of my boys and girls are watching, you know, good luck for that race this weekend.
Now, I do want to ask, how different is it racing remote control cars to being in the actual car? Because you're not behind the wheel in a remote control car, you're kind of looking at it top down, aren't you?
Yeah, I mean, that's the obvious difference, but everything that we do here is almost exactly the same as radio control car racing. The obvious difference is they're much smaller, they're much easier to work on. So this has taken a couple of weeks to get prepared for this event because I had a problem at Anglesey at the last round. A model car, you could like completely rebuild the car in like 2 hours, and that's pretty much what we do as well every time we use them. So much easier than these, but just the same, and great fun. They both like racing. Every form of racing, I think, just brings something slightly different, but you can totally relate to it. There's a few model car racing people here today, like Martin Shelton, I think he's racing the Caterhams. He's a model car racer, and Liam Morell, who's in the what's the class? The bike sport class with the Radical. You know, he's a model car racer as well. So there's a few of us around, you know, and it's good fun to obviously do this as like a side hobby rather than my actual job.
It's almost a bit of a weird way around when I think about it, but with regards to the Clio Sport Championship itself, how long have you been racing in the Clios? How long have you had this car for?
I bought the car in lockdown, so you know, when we weren't spending all our money going out to the cinema and to the pub and restaurants and stuff, it basically allowed me to find the funds to finally buy the car. So it's been that since then, but I only tend to do, because of my model car racing, that racing calendar is so busy, I only tend to do 1 or 2 races with the Clio per year. This year I've managed to convince my wife to allow me to do 4 races. So I was at Anglesey, I'm here, I'm doing Alton Park and Silverstone, and then we'll see what happens.
Fantastic, Greg, thank you very much for your time.
Yeah, no worries, cheers.
We're heading back to the assembly area to catch up with one of the most experienced drivers in the Sports 1000 paddock, and his apprentice. Can we call him an apprentice? Sorry, Carl. We're in the Sports 1000 paddock, and I'm joined by Colin Chapman and Carl Austin. Chaps, how are we doing?
Yeah, good, thanks. Yeah, it'd be even better after qualifying.
It's always that little buzz, isn't there, just before you jump into the car?
Yeah, particularly qualifying, I think, because that sets the tone for the weekend then. So you're all a bit cooler after qualifying.
Now, we were just mentioning before, Carl, or you were mentioning how you kind of still see yourself as a newcomer, but you've been racing in this for a while now.
Yeah, it's 5 years now, but I still think I'm a novice, but like compared to Colin, obviously. I've been racing in this a long, 20 21st season, I think, something like that.
And you've been helping out a lot of the new drivers, including Carl, when he came in. Carl, how useful was it, you know, having Colin around just to be able to give that helping hand?
Yeah, it was just unbelievable. The whole paddock is just brilliant. Everybody lends a hand. On the track, it's a full-on race and you're out and it's a battle. In the paddock, it's the best paddock you'll ever come to.
I'm just trying to think how I try and slow him down all the time. No, what he says is great. That's part of the reason I've stayed here, is because the crack's great and the racing is, for performance we get with these cars, there's nothing that touches it for the money. We, you know, the set of tyres that last you all year, and all the engines are straight from a breaker's yard. So the cost versus the performance of these cars is unbeatable.
And you mentioned that you've been racing this for about 20 years. We are at Snetterton, a circuit that did have the layout change. I can't even remember how many years ago. Which layout do you prefer?
This is a lot more technical. We lost the original Coram, which was one of the best corners in the country. So I'm sad about it. It's a testing corner, that, but the old Coram was just awesome. So it's a bit sad that's gone.
They've opened it up a bit now, haven't they?
That?
Yeah, Coram.
It's a lot tighter than it was originally in the old layout. The circuit's a lot better than it was because, you know, before it's more like the 200 is now. So it's a much more challenging circuit overall. We just lost a really nice corner in the process. But on balance, it's good. It's a great circuit to drive at.
Carl, have you ever raced on the old layout?
No, just this one. But it is challenging. Like Coram now, like for me, coming around there and you start to lose your vision a bit almost. You've got a job to know where your braking points are and stuff, because it just goes on and on and on.
Is it just a really long trail braking zone then into the final corner?
Oh, I don't know. Yeah, I guess.
Is this not giving the tips away just before quali?
No, you have to stabilise the car as you're coming around the last bit. So it's just, you know, how much speed can I keep on without overdoing it and trying to settle the car down, because that last corner's important.
Yeah, I spun it on the first lap of practice. I went out a bit wild and I come around that corner and just spun it twice around.
And I lost it yesterday on oil around Coram as well. So
whose oil was it?
It was mine. Straight onto the back tyre. So yes, Friday was an interesting test day.
Well, we both had spins there. That's what practice is for, right? Get all of the spins out of the way straight away.
You got to find the track limits, so I found them.
Yeah, I just invented my own limits. So.
It's been an absolute pleasure. I'm aware that we're running a bit short for time, so you might need to be getting back in your cars. Thank you again. Best of luck in quali.
Cheers.
I got tasked with finding a mark in a BMW to talk to. Well, here's a BMW. Oh, hi, Mark. Well, would you look at this? We're in a racing car. A car that doesn't have its doors on. Mark, what's going on?
So I've got the lightweight fiberglass doors and I've set them all up so they can be quick release, just taken off, so we can get access to bits and pieces if we have issues during the day.
And you are also the M1 class leader at the moment.
Presently, yeah.
Are we still leading the class as well with the round from Snetterton?
Yeah, at the moment, well, we haven't raced yet, but I'm 2 points in the clear at the moment, so hopefully I'll get enough points to stay there.
How does Snetterton fare as a circuit for you? Is it one that you're comfortable with?
I love Snetterton, yeah. It's really technical. It's fast, technical. Yeah, takes no prisoners.
Now, as we are in the car, why don't you give a little tour of everything inside?
Okay, so I've got all the gauges that I need for oil pressure, oil temperature, voltage and other things like that. All my kill switches down here for the safety systems and the extinguisher. Again, the steering wheel is very similar to everything else. It just comes off for ease of access and getting out again. Apart from that, standard dashboard, and just totally gutted for as much weight saving as possible. I fitted the ABS system in the passenger well for better weight distribution, and apart from that, it's just as light as possible with a decent cage.
So what does the voltage meter read, and what are you expecting to see from it?
So that should read about 14 volts when we're running the car, and basically if you lose the fan belt, you see your voltage drop off and you know you're in trouble. It's just to make sure that you know that the electric's always being charged up for lights and wipers.
Wonderful, Mark. Thank you very much for your time and best of luck today.
Pleasure, thank you very much.
Well, the rain has started to come down here at Snetterton, and it makes a perfect opportunity to bring the Paddock show to a close. Thank you all so much for watching, and we'll see you in just over a month's time on the 21st and 22nd of September for Croft.